Hi everybody. So here we have a couple of new models that I've recently gotten. One of them, this red Viper here, just arrived today. And over here we have the Mercedes SLS AMG in matte black. And both these models are by Maisto. See if we can rotate a little more so you can see the front. I'm really excited in particular to see the new Viper. This is the 2013, so it's brand new Viper GTS. I've seen this racing in series like the American Le Mans, and it's just got a really cool looking front, the new grille. It's really neat. I've really kind of had a love affair with Vipers ever since 2007, and that was the year that I was actually over in Europe and was lucky enough to have a day off where we could spend the day at the Nürburgring, and the Viper GTSR by Zaxspeed took me around the Nordschleife and as a passenger, and it was incredible. Lots of the racing games I've been playing for the last, I don't know, many years, starting even before I went to Europe, had various evolutions of the Viper, and it's always been one of those cars that's just so fun to drive, and just very powerful. It's a little like driving a Corvette in a way, but you know, rear-wheel drive and just tons of power, and it does handle well, but you've got to be very disciplined with your right foot. You got to know when to use all that power and when to be a little more gentle. But at least in the game, you know, it's an extreme thrill to have that much horsepower underneath your foot, and I can definitely say that being a passenger in a car like this is amazing also. But I have to say that I was shocked at how grippy the car was, because when you go around the Nürburgring, even if you're in a car that's usually a race car, which is what the Zaxspeed Viper is, you still have to have road legal tires on, at least during the tourist fahren. So it was just Michelin Pilot Sport tires that the Zaxspeed Viper was wearing. And granted, the race car has less power, believe it or not, than this right here would have, to meet with the regulations with the class of GT racing that the Viper is in. It actually, like the Corvette, they both have to essentially have less power running in the engine so that it's sort of within the regulations and makes everything at least somewhat equitable with the other cars that race. So the car only had something like 500 horsepower instead of somewhere in the neighborhood of 600 or 700. But I can't say that there was one single moment during that lap, which is something like 13 miles, one lap around the Nürburgring. There wasn't a single moment where I felt like the car lost grip, you know, especially in the rear, which is where I was expecting it, you know, put down too much power, let's say, go around a corner and get get on the throttle a little bit too early, you'd expect the rear to slide around a little bit at least, but it didn't at all. And I mean, we were going fast. We were passing everybody. And yeah, so I guess either the cars have more grip in real life than the video game would lead you to believe, or this guy had some amazing control of his foot. Anyway, let's go ahead and show you some of the moving parts. The rear opens to a huge degree, more than I expected. Most of my models don't do this. They have a hood that opens in the back, but usually it doesn't open quite that far. I mean, I could actually stick my whole hand in there, and if I were to get creative, I'm sure I could think of something that I could store in the back of this model, just for the sake of humor. Look at that back end. I like the rear tail lights now. It's almost like the Viper is similar to an Aston Martin or something, just with these sleek little tail lights. They're sort of similar to what the Viper used to have, but yeah. Of course, both the doors open. You can see. I'll go ahead and see if I can hold that up so you can see inside a little. I know my videos are often not very well lit, but anyway, yeah, looks pretty cool. Check this out. And see that? Steering wheel moves back and forth when the wheels turn to the left and right. Pretty cool. And of course, the hood opens, so you can see this awesome, monstrous V10 engine. It's beautiful. The V10 has a really distinct sound, and maybe some of you have been lucky enough to be riding down the street when a V10 is going by, a Viper, or some car that's got one of these inside. Maybe a Lamborghini Gallardo would also have the V10. Some of the Audi R8s come with a V10 engine. But a few months ago, an older version of the Viper was driving down the street, and I happened to buzz by him because he was at that moment not going all that fast. He was on the highway, but just being in the next lane over from this car was crazy. The car just, you know, definitely has a presence. You know it's there. So, and then I guess the guy decided he wanted to see what it could do if he opened it up, so all of a sudden it buzzed past me. That was pretty cool. So, now this model here, the Mercedes SLS AMG, I'm not sure if I'm saying that in the right order, but anyway, you get the idea. Basically a tuned Mercedes SLS. Has the gull wing doors. I'll show you. The hood opens. Let's see if I can. This part's a bit tricky. I've often had a little difficulty getting the hood open, so I'll see if it'll work this time. There we go. Anyway, oops, I guess I won't be able to handle it by the doors there, but look at that. pretty cool on the inside. This model has the same degree of detail as the Viper. One cool thing, I think I mentioned on the SLR video, just the earlier version, predecessor of this car, that the rear wing, which will open if you step on the brake, wasn't animated in that model. Well, guess what? On this one, it is. Look at that. I really like the detail of this. The black wheels. The brake calipers are red, and of course you see these red accents on the grille and on the fuel cap. So, very nice. I still have a wish list full of cars that I'm eventually going to get from Amazon. I do plan to start adding some cars to my collection that aren't just race cars or supercars. I think from watching other collector videos and stuff having to do with die-cast models, I've noticed that, you know, some of the cars and trucks even that I wouldn't think of buying are actually really pretty cool, and I think maybe it's time for my collection to be a little more diverse. So yeah, you might just have some surprises coming for the next time I do one of these videos, because one of the cars that I have on my list, and is actually should be on its way to my house, I think, it's another older car, and I have shown you models I have that are older, but you know, still they're usually race cars. And the one I'm getting is going to be something that's more of just an elegant car from, I don't know, at this point it's getting close to be about 80 years old, so when that arrives, I'll make sure to do a nice little clip on it. Perhaps one of these days I'll get one of these models that comes in a box that will be fun to show you an unboxing, maybe, because as much as I like to do the unboxings, sometimes the packaging that they use for these models makes an unboxing a bit awkward. There'd be a lot of fussy little materials that are difficult to remove, and the video might actually be really, really long. I think I mentioned in one of my previous videos that when I was unboxing my Ferrari FXX, it took an hour just to unbox that one car, and I had never had a car that cumbersome to unbox, and hopefully won't again. So anyway, well, I guess I'll stop here with this video, but I hope you enjoyed taking a little look at these new models. And as I said, if you're these aren't, this brand is a good value, really good. So if you're interested in collecting yourself and you're just kind of thinking, well, maybe I can't afford to do it, believe it or not, some of these models really are nice, and you really don't have to have a huge investment in it. I think I've mentioned that some of the models that I've gotten have been quite expensive, and sometimes they're not as good as that sort of, that level would suggest. And some of these models here that really don't cost that much for their size and their level of detail really give you a lot for that little amount that they ask for. So just a little bit of encouragement if you're interested in starting to collect these sorts of models. And the fact that they're so large, and it gives you a much more enjoyable size, so that you can notice all the little details, but you don't have to have too much space. Obviously, they make models that are bigger than this, but yeah, pretty soon they can be approaching the size that the real thing is. But anyway, like I said, I'm really glad that you watched this, and I hope that you look forward to the next one as much as I am. So have a good night. Bye-bye.